Mike Heading here. I've just got a short little mandolin lesson for you today. We're going to be talking about fiddle tune ending licks. So I know you're thinking, I'm playing mandolin, why should I learn fiddle tunes? But if you play mandolin, you should definitely be learning fiddle tunes. They are a great way to learn to improvise, to improve your ear training, and to work on your pick direction, and tons of other things. A great way to learn new songs as well. So fiddle tune is just a common term for kind of instrumental old-time or bluegrass songs, but you can play them on guitar, you can play them on mandolin, you can play them on fiddle, you can play them on banjo. There's kind of a classic 4-measure ending lick that is very common. You might have heard it before in jam sessions, and I always thought this was really cool when you'd see two musicians who maybe have never even played together, and at the end of the fiddle tune they just play this amazing ending where it sounded like they had rehearsed it, but they clearly hadn't. So I'm going to show you how to do that. I'm going to talk about it. We're going to start in the key of D and then show you how to do it in a couple different keys. And I'm going to give you some of my thoughts to get you started. And here we go. Here's fiddle tune ending licks for mandolin. So let's start looking at some of these fiddle tune endings. So we're going to start in the key of D. I think that's a good key to start with. And then I'll show you how to move it around to some other keys. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is let me just play the lick and you'll get a sense of the timing of it. Okay, so it's a 4-measure lick. I kind of think of it like a call and response. So we're going to start up here on the A string. I'm going to play open and then the 4th fret. And then I'm going to do 5, 4, 5, open. And then 2, 5, open. And then down to the 5th fret of the D string. So you have... And then, so that's 4th fret open on the D string, 2nd fret, 6th fret on the G string with an upstroke, open. So that's the initial call. Remember I said it's a call and response. So a lot of times you'll see if you're playing this fiddle tune with another person, that might be the first person's part. They would play that lick. And then the other person would play the response, which, you know, there's a lot of different ways you can do it, but basically I'm going to walk back up to this high D, or you can walk back down again. So you basically just want to get down to one of your D notes, so either the open D string, 5th fret on the A string, or way up at the 10th fret on the E string if you want. So remember, it's kind of a walk down, and I think the most important thing to think about with these ending licks is 1, the timing, and 2, think about what I call checkpoints. So basically we're starting on this D up here, we're walking into it. So that's our first checkpoint. That's the note I really want to make sure I hit, is that first D. And then I'm walking down, in this case, to this D. So however I get down there isn't quite as important, but I just want to make sure I get down there. So I've got 6 beats to get down there. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. So even if I go, you know, so however I get down there, don't worry as much how you get down there. Think of it as a checkpoint. You can improve the lick as you get better, but just think about is getting here and then there. So however you do it, if you walk down chromatically, or, you know, like more of a fiddle tune scale lick. So again, I'm thinking of those checkpoints. You know, it's kind of like sliding into home plate. If you get there, you're safe. So even if you play a really weird lick, you know, as long as you get down to that D, it kind of works itself out. And again, you can improve the lick as time goes on. But really think of those checkpoints. Because then you can really get down there any way you want, okay? So that's the first step, is doing the call of the lick. Just practice different licks. Think of it as the timing. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. So our first D note is the beat 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. And as you improve, you could do it the other way too. So maybe I start down low. and then you do the call, or the response rather, the response the other way. So again, we just want to get from a D on beat 1 to another D note on beat 3 of the next measure. Okay? So however you get down there, it is okay to start. And then we have our response lick on 4 and. So in this case, I did D string, and then open 4th fret, and then you're kind of walking back up with like a scale lick. I'm getting up to this D on the 3rd fret. So it's basically the checkpoints on the response lick are the same. So you have beat 1, and then again up to beat 3 of the next measure. So however you get up there, okay? So what I would do first is start by doing the whole lick yourself, and then eventually, if you're playing it with someone else, like I said, you or your partner would play the first part of the lick, and then someone else would play the response. Okay, so that'd be in D. If we move it up to the high E string and play like a similar lick, that'd be in A. You know, and then again you do the response. So same timing, and you just, again, you think you have to just find your checkpoints in that new key. So you got your A, high A, you've got your open A, you've got your low A, 2nd fret, you know, so you could do. Something like that. Again, same timing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. Okay? And if you were doing chords, it'd be just a D and an A, and then back to D if you were in D, or A, do, 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 and then E. So if you were kind of playing chords, you could do that. But again, a lot of times the chords will kind of break there. If you've heard this done in a jam session, you know, you might play the last chords, and then it's kind of a pause, and then the other person does the response, remember. So that'd be in A. If you wanted to move it to the low strings, you could do it in G. Get your checkpoints in G. You got your high G. You've got your middle G, I guess, 5th fret on the D string, and then you got your low G, you know, or you got way up here. And again, you can just play with the timing. Just think of your checkpoints. So I'm going from a G to a G, and then, you know, just play with those checkpoints, and you can always kind of make it work out. Okay? So that's kind of the first way I think about it, is kind of just a generic ending lick, right? So that's not really tied to the song we're playing. I'm just playing a lick, basically, right? So that's not really tied to a song, like I said. It's just kind of what I consider a generic fiddle tune ending lick. But the other way you can kind of do it, let's go back to D for a second. The other way I like to do this is kind of teasing one of the melodic parts that you've already played. So maybe you tease a little bit of the A part for the call, and then you do the response. So if you're familiar with the song Whiskey Before Breakfast, the A part is something like. So if I was going to do a little ending lick, I might play that first little melodic phrase. And then right here would be the response. So you don't always go from a D to a D doing it that way like we did in the generic one that we were practicing. So what's cool about that is it makes it song specific. So it kind of gives the listener just a home base for hearing that ending lick, rather than just playing a generic lick that isn't related to the song. Now we're teasing the melody a little bit. And then again, doing a little ending lick. So that'd be like a Whiskey Before Breakfast. If you know St. Anne's Reel, you could do something like. something that's kind of fun, you know, you're teasing the melody, or, you know, like a Bill Cheatham in A. And sometimes you kind of have to play with it and figure out how to work it out. And it doesn't have to be always note for note melody, but I think that can be kind of a cool technique, again, is teasing the melody for the beginning, for the call part of that ending lick. And then for the response, you can kind of just, you know, play your fancy lick that you want to do. So maybe, again, with Bill Cheatham, you go. And the last thing you could do too is kind of slow down at the end. You know, maybe I go. And that's kind of taking some artistic liberties, obviously, but that can be kind of cool too. Again, it's the same timing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. And then sometimes I like to do a last strum on beat 4. So you'd have. Actually, that'd be on beat 1 if I did it that way. I'd do 3, 4, and then I'll pause on 4. I'm muting it on 4, 3, and then on beat 1 again. But you get the idea. So you can play with that idea. Remember, don't get too worried about, at first, what notes you're playing. And, you know, I think it's a common kind of mistake is to get too caught up in what notes you're playing and not worry enough about the timing. Just get the timing right, and then you can really play whatever you want. You know, I'm just fooling around and, again, trying to hit my checkpoints. A, and then I'm walking back up. Because if you hit your checkpoints, I think it helps, it keeps the listener connected enough that you can kind of, those in-between parts can be a little more fluid, if that makes sense. And again, you can always improve your licks and make them sound better. But I think if you're too critical of what you're playing right off the bat, it's going to hinder your creativity. You really got to throw a lot of stuff at the wall, kind of see what sticks, and you can always improve the lick. But if you're too worried about getting the lick right away, it's just, you're never going to try it. And what I want you to do for this lesson is think about the checkpoints, think about the timing, and then whatever you play, as long as you hit your checkpoints, it'll kind of work out in the end, okay? Hopefully that helps you out. All right, good luck.